Okay, this is 252 Pop Fiction, where you'll find all the news and reviews in pop fiction that's right to type.
Pop culture.
And pop culture that's right to type. Today's top story. The ink's dry, the deal's done. Robert Pattinson will play the Batman in the Matt Reeves movie that has been taken over for after Ben Affleck gracefully bowed out from writing, directing, and acting duties. Now, of course, the internet was aflame when this came out.
Yeah.
Yet another shitty choice.
You know what? I said I've been upset every time that they've announced who's going to be Batman.
Yeah.
I would have to
Upset
say
first.
I would have to say I was only wrong with the Mr. Mom pick. I was a fit, yeah, and I knew you was. I
love Michael Keaton.
I was gonna light your ass up the way you was talking about Batman '89, but I was like, come on, man. You was talking about Jack Nicholson. Oh my god, Batman '89 was good. It was really good.
It was good for the time.
It was, yeah,
It's
for the
campy
time.
as
Yes,
hell now.
yes, of course. But at the time,
I've got some good memories of it.
yes,
For sure.
and I think Michael Keaton, even though he's short, that's like you, a height hater, but even though he was a little dude, I thought he did a great
Pulled it off.
Batman, and he had memorable scenes. It's like, you want to get nuts? Okay, let's get nuts.
He was a decent Bruce Wayne. And
I
who
thought
are
he-
you?
I thought
I'm
he-
Batman. I mean,
I
people
thought he
still
made
say
a good Bruce Wayne, but he just didn't have the presence needed for Batman. That's why he wears the costume, because just looking at him is supposed to intimidate you. And he just doesn't have that I don't know what you would call it. Gravitas?
The gravitas, but I will disagree because I felt like that came across. And when you compare it to Val Kilmer, Clooney, they didn't have it.
They were bad.
I would have to say Christian Bale had it, but his Bruce Wayne was terrible.
Yeah.
And of all of them, the best one at it was Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, was a great Batman and a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So if the Batmobile is going to sparkle in the new one, then because it's unfair to be like, Robert Pattinson was a teen heartthrob 10 years ago during the Twilight stuff. He's a grown man now. He's probably wants to be rid of that Edward Cullen as much than anybody else. And being Batman will be the way to go.
Well,
Let's see.
Because both like
when I watch a movie, I try really hard to leave the dogma out, to leave what happened before out, just give it a fresh chance.
unless Will Smith is in it, because he can't play anybody but Will Smith.
I'm gonna
Al Pacino.
I'll watch it with an open mind, and hopefully it'll surprise me.
Yeah,
prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
You know what?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to jump on the internet and put out any hate.
Except for
this. I'm not going to write any hate. Outrage sparked among students.
talking about writing hate.
Former students and parents on social media as two students at a SoCal high school will face severe consequences after photos of them holding up a racist promposal. After photos of them holding up a racist promposal signs? Who writes this dreck? After a photo of them holding up racist promposal signs.
Yes, that's what it says.
We'll take it away. It won't hurt anymore, Rob.
Okay, all right. The two the signs I saw.
What did the sign say?
Well, the first one, oh God, I'm gonna paraphrase because it said,
It can't be any worse.
because it was like, I'm not a cotton picking, but I'm picking you to go to the prom with me. Yeah, and there was the other one said, what it kept saying, I'm this, and the first letter was highlighted in each one, and it spelled nigger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they posted it on social media, like, hey, go to the prom with me. And people were
Kids are dumb nowadays.
That's bad. But on a lighter note, the long-running series on CBS concluded with the two final episodes of The Big Bang Theory closed out its run as television's top-rated comedy.
They already ran?
Yeah, they dropped.
Oh, concluded.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, concluded. That's what I wrote. I know you said that you fell off of the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, probably after 7. I didn't really watch.
What was it, 10,
8 or
11 seasons?
I don't know. I like the show, but I never tuned in when the new episodes come in.
Oh God, no!
I always watch it in syndication.
Syndication.
Yeah, so.
I don't think I've watched a new episode. I'm clearly
New
not.
season.
New season. Like, oh hey, I don't even know what time they come on. Because I've had a long hate with CBS as a network, so I don't watch any of their programming live, except for football. And even then, I got the Red Zone channel. I don't even watch
that
live. But I mean, it is one of those shows that you can't pop in and out. It doesn't matter what episode or what season.
Yeah.
They got the funny, and their shtick has been the same thing over the years. But I mean, the people loved it.
And they grew up.
Of
and
course,
they actually had sex.
Yeah, and of course, for guys like us, I love all the pop culture and comic book references, especially when I get them and that whole thing. I mean, it's nice.
Right.
Funny show.
It will be missed.
It's in syndication. You will not even notice it's off there.
There you go.
They got so many episodes.
Yeah, but I must say though, one thing that I am impressed with that show, all the science is real, and the way that the actors run their lines and they can pronounce all the.
Oh yeah, I don't even think they do. They're actually so good at it. I don't even think about that as work that they do.
Right.
That's the crazy part. This week's review, The Dark Side of the Ring, exploits and exploring the darkest stories from the golden age of professional wrestling and trying to find the truth at the intersection of fantasy and reality.
What is the golden age of wrestling? I'd say is in my lifetime, but there was a time before that.
There was a time before that, let's say, of course, there was wrestling was always, in the beginning, the vaudeville and stuff like that, and they'd always have these long wrestling, grappling competitions and stuff like that. But today's modern wrestling, the archetype of that came from more the 50s and 60s, 70s wrestling, where there was never, they in public, like whoever your character was in the ring is who you were outside the ring. You could never drop character. If people saw you in public, if you were a heel, you went on the road with heels, you went drinking with heels, you went, you partied with heels, that was it. They would never see you with the baby face of the company.
Yeah.
The baby faces,
really
they all
changed.
And that's of course all of that. And where that really changed, when you look at the Dark Side of the Ring, I believe it was episode 2, the Montreal Screwjob. That was on TV because up until this point, they were still, the good guys were the good guys, the bad guys were the bad guys. You wouldn't know. But the Montreal Screwjob, when Vince McMahon said, "Ring the bell, damn it," and Shawn Michaels had Bret Hart, and you can even say, because Bret Hart was like, he didn't even put me in the move the right way. He went to put me in the move, and he did it wrong, and Bret had to switch his legs around to where he would be to help him out. They're sitting there, he's sitting there holding it, and then the bell's ringing, and he's looking around, and everyone had this bewildered look on their face.
That's not in the script!
Yeah, and then it went, all hell broke loose, and they said, and the thing about it, they call it kayfabe, and they were like, who's going to break kayfabe? It was like, don't worry about it. Bret Hart comes from the Stu Hart family, the whole thing. They're years and years, they're ingrained in the life. What is he going to do? Go out and tell? And he did. When after Bret Hart got screwed, he went and told.
That was a hell of a screw drop.
And ultimately what happened is Vince McMahon then created the Vince McMahon villain character, how he screwed people over and stuff like that. And that's
perfect segue into that
great kayfabe, and started, that's when they kind of came out with, this is sports entertainment. But throughout this episode, they talked about like people were dying and stuff like that. And I challenge you, if you watch this, there's the whole, the story about the Von Erichs.
Oh yeah.
I challenge you not to squirt a tear in that one. This family went through so much tragedy.
Well, they made a really good documentary. I talked about it before, The Unreal History of Professional Wrestling. It goes all the way back to when professional wrestling was more popular than boxing, and what happened to switch that, and how the wrestlers went into the carnivals. And then when they when it went fake, like they didn't know what they were getting into, where they were fighting a carnival wrestler who was playing for real, or another performer who was doing a show. They didn't. They said a real scary time period there. But it's a great documentary. I haven't seen this one, but I'm sure it'll be good.
Two to watch now.
And I have to say, my vote for when professional wrestling peaked had to be WrestleMania 3. They sold out a stadium. They had pay-per-view.
97,000 in attendance.
That's when they
And the millions at home.
Yeah.
Well,
Arguably.
Ralphie D recommends Rick and Morty. Rick Sanchez suddenly arrives at his daughter Beth's doorstep to move in with her and her family. After having been missing for nearly 20 years, Rick works on a number of sci-fi gadgets, some of which could be considered dangerous. He also goes on adventures across the universe that often involve his grandchildren, Morty and Summer. Mostly Morty, he's in the title. Love this show. They announced that fourth season's coming out in November. Can't wait for it. It's really funny. It's humor. It's dark.
It's not
and
for
it's very
kids.
subversive.
Even though my kids watch
it.
it, it's not for kids.
I'm
I
saying.
feel like a bad parent. I was like, "What is this?
It's hilarious.
What are they talking about?"
Well, I'm Ralphie D, and that's news to me.
I'm Coolwater Kurt. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We'd like to hear what you think. Leave us a comment down below and let your opinion be heard.
If you like this video, please check out our other videos on our channel like Nostalgia and Retro Recast.
I'm JB. I'd like to give a shout out to my man AM at Comics Most Wanted. Like him, follow him, subscribe. And this is 252 Pop Fiction, where you hear it first.
Adonis, pull yourself together.